uh, you need to check your input devices and try to select one device and then turn on Let's Check. So the device will see that this is the way how to also check your voice.
Okay, hello everyone in the general voice channel. I ask everyone to please disconnect from this channel, because then we will have better image and voice quality for everyone. And please watch the briefing on YouTube. You have the link to the YouTube live stream in the announcements, which is left-hand side top channel. You have the link to YouTube. And I have many viewers on YouTube already. We will just wait a few more minutes. I ask everyone to please disconnect, except for Alexander Zubankov. Please be back here in case you will have questions, but for the time being, please disconnect. Alan Sikenov, please disconnect. Alexandra Falchevskaya, please disconnect as well. Please watch us on YouTube. Alina Nedikova, please disconnect. Anastasia Belaeva, please disconnect and watch us on YouTube. Bran Iskakov, please disconnect. Kunduz, please disconnect and watch us on YouTube. Then the image will be better for everyone. Maria Caravelli, please disconnect and watch us on YouTube. Maria Chupala, please disconnect and watch us on YouTube. Mladen Matev, please disconnect. Use the YouTube link in the announcements. YouTube link to the live stream of this briefing. Please disconnect from the voice channel. Svetlana Zhuravlyova, please disconnect. Please disconnect. Please go to YouTube. Anna Ostrovskaya, please go to YouTube and watch us on YouTube.
Ilya, you can do it by yourself, to be honest. So you can right-click on, for example, Svetlana Zhuravlyova and press disconnect.
Yeah, I can do it, but I don't think it would be polite. But can I please ask you to do it? Can you do it for me, please?
To disconnect or me to disconnect?
Can you disconnect?
Okay, of course.
Okay, first of all, I would like to ask Artemy or Alexander to please confirm that the YouTube is working and that you can see my slides and that you can hear my voice. Artemy or Alexander, please confirm that you can hear my voice and see the slides. Alexander, please confirm.
Well, I don't know is it helpful or not, but I can see the slides perfectly fine and hear your voice perfectly fine, Ilya.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you, Alexandra. But now you can disconnect as well and go to YouTube. The connection will be better for everyone. Once again, please, everyone, including Mladen Matev, including Mari Chisholm, including Anton Goloshev, please watch us on YouTube. Then the voice and image quality will be much better for everyone. And please be back.
How to disconnect? I'm so sorry. I don't know how to disconnect from the general voice channel and to make your life better this way. How to do it?
Okay, in the bottom left corner, you have this little phone with a little cross. Just click here. Okay, everyone, please go to YouTube channel. Milan, Andrei, please go to YouTube channel. The link to YouTube is in the announcements. Okay, good. Okay, I will start, and I hope there are people around who will explain to all team members and all jurors how to watch YouTube for this briefing. And I hope everyone will help people who are asking where to watch the briefing. You can watch the briefing on YouTube. The direct link is in the announcements text channel. Good. I will give you a brief introduction to various aspects of this online tournament, including the regulations which are valid for any tournament, be it normal tournament or the online tournament like this one. And I will explain some particular features of this online tournament, some special features that we all need to know about. We'll have time to discuss. We will have time to answer questions. Obviously, many of you had connection issues today, and unfortunately, it is not ruled out that you will have connection issues in the next few days, but we need to be patient. We need to be supportive to each other. This responsibility falls on the shoulders of the chairpersons to help and to assist the teams and jurors with connection issues. And obviously, I hope that the chairpersons will not have connection issues themselves. Okay, my name is Ilya Marchenko. I'm from the General Council of the IYNT. And this is our plan for this briefing. First, I will very briefly explain about the science fights, about the report, opposition, and review. I will explain about the penalty points, which are called yellow cards. I will explain the matters related to the jury, the grading criteria, questions from the jurors, what the chairpersons are responsible for. I will explain about captain's contests. I will explain about fight attendance and about the upload of solutions. Okay, any science fight is a meeting of 2 or 3 teams. For many of you, a 2-team fight is something unexpected because for nearly every IYNT since 2017, we only had 3-team fights because the total number of teams in the IYNT was a multiple of 3. This year is with 14 teams, therefore one of the groups will always contain 2 teams. In a 2-team fight, the second team is split in the beginning of each stage into 2 subgroups, which are called the opposing and reviewing subgroup respectively. The team decides how to do it. More specifically, the captain decides how to do it. Obviously, everyone will remain in the same voice channel, but we expect that these two subgroups do not interact with each other. You may ask, how is that possible that team members are reviewing their colleagues, the members of their own team? Well, this is something that we have in the IYNT on purpose. It is very normal in many situations in life and in science that you need to review the work of your immediate colleague, your group member, your immediate collaborator. They have done something, they have written a paper, they have submitted a manuscript, and you need to review it. They are your friends. You also need to maintain your scientific integrity, and therefore you need to provide critical and objective review. This is what happens in the two-team science fights in the IYNT. Even if the opponents are from the same team, reviewers are expected to act accordingly and be objective, highlight strong sides and highlight drawbacks and mistakes in the opposition independently and as objectively as it is only possible. Science fight, we have people sitting in a regular room, but now obviously things are different. We will have everyone sitting in the same voice channel. For slides and presentations, we will use screen sharing, and obviously I ask all teams to test your screen sharing in advance, not necessarily during the fight, not necessarily during the breaks, but you can do it before the IYNT or you can do it in the evening. Please test everything in advance. In case you have technical issues, obviously the chairs will try to assist you and they will try to wait, but they cannot wait forever because we have the schedule. We cannot make our fight lasting for an enormous amount of time. Here you can see the fight plan for this IYNT. In the announcement text channel, you can already see what the exact teams are, team 1, team 2, and 3, and so on. These numbers are the lots that you have drawn at the opening ceremony. In the first 3 science fights, the order of performances and the distribution of teams is according to the lot. We already know who competes with whom. In Science Fight 4, the teams are distributed according to their ranks after Science Fight 3, and the same holds for the semifinals. In the semifinals, the distribution of teams across the groups is according to the ranks after the last selective Science Fight 4. Today, in the first fight, we discuss problems 1 through 6. Tomorrow in the morning, we discuss problems 7 through 12. And in the afternoon, problems 13 through 17. And on Sunday, we will already have the new problems that no one has yet seen so far. The experimental problems that the teams will be solving during the fight, during 45 minutes of preparation. And the order of performances will be already determined by the winner of captain's contest. In the semifinals and in the final fight, challenge procedure is omitted and the teams decide themselves on the problems that they would like to present. Here you can see our experienced host and juror chairperson Georgi Homeriki when he was still the team captain for Team Georgia 6 years ago at the IYNT 2014, and you can see that he's presenting his experiments for the problem about drinking water or other drinks through a long vertical straw, and this provides a glimpse of the features we have in the IYNT problems. They are fascinating, they are interdisciplinary, concern many science subjects at once, and obviously in the report we expect that the teams provide an interesting and thorough solution with data, with methods, and we expect the jurors to evaluate the teams accordingly. Already mentioned, we have 3 types of IYNT problems. Main problems, problems invent yourself with the original problem statements that the teams have formulated themselves. The problem statements are on the web page. You can already check the problem statements at IYNT.org/St. Petersburg. And in Fight 4, we have additional problems that the teams will be solving here on the spot in their home or in their kitchen or in their school lab, anywhere they like. And I know there will be questions about it. There is no need for special experimental equipment. The equipment will be absolutely minimum that you can find anywhere. It is not forbidden to bring extra equipment. I know that some teams have been doing that in the past. This is allowed, but there is no mandatory equipment. There is no equipment that you must have. You will basically need some very basic items like water and yourself and your mobile phone, the items that you can find anywhere. We expect from the reporter the following. We expect that the reporter applies scientific methods to deliver a reasonable solution. They introduce and determine parameters. They collect quantitative data via reasonable techniques. They develop theories and apply reasonable mathematics. They link experiment to theory. They cite sources of any ideas, data, or theories that are not of own work. They are conversant with the scientific context. They can explain the findings convincingly. They can draw conclusions. They can explain clearly what are the goals and priorities of their work. They can defend the solution and they can answer questions. When someone poses questions or criticizes the report, they defend it. This is what we expect from the reporter. Obviously, conclusions are very important in any report. Opposition. This picture is a little joke, but we obviously expect that the opponent is critical and they do not take anything for granted. The opponent does not present their solution. They only react to the report and they focus on the report. They challenge the reporter's results, understanding, and conclusions. They question whether claims are supported by research and have reproducibility. They are conversant with the scientific context. They ask relevant questions, non-trivial questions, and they understand the answers. They agree or disagree with the report and they have judgments. They lead the discussion. They facilitate the discussion. They are polite. They can outline strong sides and shortcomings of the report. They also explain everything convincingly. And finally, they can also draw clear and specific conclusions about the report. They make their judgment and evaluation of the report. Here you can see some example from the IYNT 2018 when the report was not particularly good. And as you can see, the opponent was very clearly and very openly highlighting shortcomings of the report. And they had some visual aids to do it. Here is one more example. You can see good points and bad points summarized by the opponent. Okay, the review. And reviewer is not like a second opponent and second opposition. It's like a little jury. We expect that the reviewer is a third party in the debate. They are independent, they are impartial, they do not make the challenge and they cannot prepare their review in advance. Do not discuss anything with the other two teams. They only ask clarifying questions. They analyze the report and opposition. They bring their analysis and their expertise to make judgments. These judgments are weighted and independent. They are also conversant with the scientific context. They outline strong sides and shortcomings of the report and opposition. They can deliver a critical scientific summary of the whole stage. They can draw a line under all debates and the whole stage. So they are the last team in the fight, in the stage, to present their opinion before the jury steps in. Here you can see an example of an opposition, of a review which is not particularly good, because as you can see, the points are not related to science and are not related to the contents of the opposition. Basically, they say that the discussion was peaceful and there was a lot of text in the PowerPoints. This is not a scientific review. On the other hand, this example shows a much more specific and much more detailed review with analysis of the opposition and scientific conclusions about the opposition. For example, here the reviewer says that in their opinion, the reviewer spent too much time on one issue, which was probably not very important, and they ignored all other problems. This is a clear conclusion. Yellow cards. As you know, we have limitations for team members to take to the stage, and we have limitations on the number of challenges that a team can make in the IYNT. There are 3 types of yellow cards called NR, NP, and NT, and it is quite probable that your team will get such a yellow card in the course of the IYNT. Getting a yellow card is not something bad. In some cases, teams prefer to get a little penalty, but send a prepared student to make the presentation or to report a problem which is more suitable for the team. And I ask all teams to think about the yellow cards as an interesting and positive experience. In the example here, you can see one of the teams at the IYNT 2016. It was obtaining a lot of yellow cards, but still they are very happy and very enthusiastic. So if your team rejects more than 3 challenges in the course of the entire IYNT, you will get an NR type yellow card. If one person takes the floor more than once in one fight, for example, as reviewer and then opponent, or as reporter and then reviewer, any combination, then your team gets an NP type yellow card. And if one single person acts as reporter more than once, as reviewer more than once, or as opponent more than once in the course of the whole IYNT except for a final fight, then you will get an NT type yellow card. And 1 yellow card means that the number of points is reduced by 10%. Please check the regulations and please ask questions also to your chair in case you will need to know more and you will have specific questions about the procedures and regulations. Questions from the jury. The jurors are observing the reports and performances of all teams, and they have the time for the questions at the end of the phase, not between report and opposition, but at the very end of the stage. The questions should be short and the questions should be clarifying. We have special rules about the questions that are not allowed. So the chair will very politely stop you in case you ask the questions which are not allowed by the regulations. First, it is not allowed to ask questions that directly examine textbook knowledge. It is not allowed to express opinions and make judgments before grading. Next, it is not allowed to direct your question to several teams at once. Let me give you examples. Let's imagine you're a physicist and you see that the team is not really understanding what are significant figures, and you see that the team is presenting their results with false precision, like here in this example, and you want to ask them, give me the strict definition of significant figures, please. No, you cannot ask such a question because this is direct examination. Please try to reformulate your question in a more open way. Let's next imagine you're a chemist and you see a major issue with chemistry. Let's assume that the team is presenting something greenish in a test tube, a liquid, and they say, okay, since this is a greenish liquid, this is copper hydroxide. And you say, no, this is a mistake, you're wrong. You can do it, you can say it, but only after the grading, not during your questions, not before grading, but at the very end when you will have time to comment. And finally, let's imagine that you see that all 3 teams have problems with understanding something like a scientific concept, and you want to ask testing questions to all 3 teams at once. No, you cannot do it. You need to ask different questions to different team members. Okay, grading criteria. The basic principle of grading is that we give the grades from 1 to 30 for reporter, from 1 to 20 for opponent, and from 1 to 10 for reviewer, and we start with the starting baseline, the average expected grade for an average and expected performance in the IYNT, which is just mid value, 15 for reporter, 10 for opponent, and 5 for reviewer. Then we apply partial grades, which are called alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. You can see the detailed explanation of this criteria, alpha, beta, gamma, and delta, in your individual protocols that you can download on the web page. Many jurors are very experienced with applying this criteria. And in case you are inexperienced, please talk to your jury chairperson before you start. Alpha is something the most important, the scientific essence. Beta is how well the team fulfills the role. Gamma is how well the team explains themselves, how well they prioritize issues, and how well they can provide a structured talk, and if they can provide a persuasive message. Delta is the least important criterion related to speaking skills and technicalities and team help, visual aids. Once again, you can find this criteria in your individual protocol on the web page. Please read them, please apply them, and in case your grade is extreme, please rely on these criteria to justify your grade. Scanning or taking photo of your individual protocol is not mandatory at this IYNT. Normally, each juror writes the grades on paper, and then we collect these paper results. But now in this IYNT, since many jurors do not have access to the printer or to the scanner, the written evidence of your grades will be your direct message to the chairperson, and the chairperson will make sure that your grade is not lost and it is recorded properly. And the primary source of your grade is your written message. A little bit of statistics, as you see here with data from all previous IYNTs, more than 10,000 grades. The grades cover the whole available range, but they are shifted to the right as compared to our guidelines. So our jurors are kind and friendly, and they tend to overestimate the performance. They tend to shift their grades to the right. And next you see that if you give a particular grade, it is very likely, it is nearly certain that other jurors in your group will give a different grade. You can see on this graph on the right-hand side that we always have some difference between one specific grade from one juror and the average grade, the average point that was calculated on the basis of this grade and all other grades. But despite this spread, we have procedures in the IYNT, and we collect grades from many jurors in a group, and we can say, based on the data from the past, that having the victory point of 1 is a 2 sigma event, not so bad, and having the criterion of victory of 1/2 is a 4 sigma event, also not bad and much better. If you would like to know more about that, and if you would like to learn more about the statistics and aspects of grading, please go to the webpage section grading. Hints for new jurors. Please put your grades in a very broad spectrum, but do not put the highest possible or the lowest possible grade for the first report you see in your life or here in the IYNT, because if the next report will be better or worse, you're out of scale. If you see a performance which is obviously weaker, then put obviously lower grades. If one performance was much weaker, do not put a grade which is 1 point less. Stay balanced. An average report deserves 15 points, average opposition 10 points, and average review 5 points. Yes, you are likely to tend overestimating any performance by 2 points approximately, so you may consider not going too high in your grading. Yes, it is okay if your grades differ from other grades, but justify them clearly and justify them if chairpersons or the team captains ask you. Work on a consistent scale. Check archive of solutions on the webpage, And finally, you are a juror, and the IYNT relies on your expert opinion because obviously, as an expert in a particular field, you know what grades are fair and objective. So we trust on your opinion. Okay. Aspects of giving grades in Discord. Yes, please send all grades to the chair. The chair will collect them and record them in the Science Fight protocol and then announce all grades as you have seen at the opening ceremony, how this is done. Filling and scanning your personal individual protocol is not mandatory. You can do it, but this is not mandatory for each juror. So the written evidence is your message. Jurors will check the protocol and they will send it to the scoring commission. Ideally, a scan or a photo with your signature. Just drop it to the text channel for the chairs. If you cannot make a photo or a scan, then you can fill the file that you can again download from the web page. You can make a PDF or just an image. But once again, we need the Science Fight protocol approved by the chair and checked by the chair. This is very important. They are very, very important in the IYNT because they're responsible for science fights. They will answer. They will answer all questions. They will ensure that the regulations are followed. They will announce and explain all ordering and procedures. They will also carry out captain's contest, and they will collect your choices of problems for semifinals and finals. And they will make sure that our fights conclude with results. Okay, the chairs are very important. We will have various issues that a chair must take care of, but our chairs are experienced and I trust that they will handle such issues accordingly. For example, if some teams have connection issues or if they forget to submit preferences, or if the results of captain's contest is not recorded and so on. So once again, we trust in our chairs and we hope that our chairs will help to maintain very smooth science fights in all groups. Captain's contest. We will have very short contest for semifinals and finals. The winner will determine what is the order of performances. Winner will say, okay, this team will be the first reporter, this team will be the first opponent, and this team will be the first viewer. Captains will not be able to interact with their teams during captain's contest, and they will not be able to discuss with their teams about the order of performances. They will simply win, and then they will decide. Fight attendance. We have a few fight attendants available. They are on standby at this IYNT, but based on our experience at several online tournaments in the past, chairs should not rely too much on the fight attendants because they are still inexperienced, not as experienced as you are as chairs, and therefore in case you invite the assistance and help of experienced jurors or our designated assistants help you, still you are responsible. You're responsible for the results and you're responsible for the clock, because in some cases the clock needs to be stopped to give some extra time. So once again, the chairs, you will have ultimate responsibility for the fight. The upload of solutions. According to the regulations, all teams must submit all their solutions and opposition and reviews before the closing ceremony. Because we maintain an archive of solutions, you can already see and check all solutions from the nearly all solutions from the past IYNTs, and to upload your solutions from this IYNT. Okay, I have a typo here. It's IYNT 2020. Please go to solutions IYNT.org with an account that you have received from the executive committee, and please upload your solutions. This is mandatory. Some important aspects of an online IYNT. All jurors must check in before each science fight, and the check-in for this fight will end in 15 minutes from now. So please go to the check-in text channel and type plus. Anyone can encounter connection issues in an online IYNT. Anyone. This is normal. The CEO of Facebook had connection issues 2 days ago. We support each other. Our shared goal is smooth science fight. And in case we have connection issues, we communicate. If no one can hear you, type. If no one sees your slides, drop screenshots or drop files. The team supports the presenting participants. And the chairs, they will ensure fair conditions yet no delays. And I very much hope that our fights will be very smooth. So I wish everyone a very pleasant science fight. And now we have time for the questions. In case you want to ask a question in your voice, then please go back to the voice channel and ask. Thank you so much. Questions? Jamie?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on standby? Probably the questions that you wanted to ask?
No, not really.
Yeah, sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
In our first science fight, our team Kazakhstan is against Team Georgia, and we have only 2 teams in science fight. Does that mean that our grades for the opponent will be also the grades for the review?
No, these will be 2 different students from one team presenting. So one team member will be opponent and another team member will be reviewer. They will say different things. If they say different things in 2 different roles, they will have 2 different sets of grades.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
You can check general text channel. You will see some questions.
Okay, let me just see what we have there.
I have a question about the timing.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Milan, please continue your question.
Yes, how are we going to be able to see the stopwatch?
The stopwatch is available as an SVG file on the web page, and the chairs are all experienced in using this clock. Depending on the preferences of the chair, I think that this clock will be either displayed as a separate share screen or otherwise. For example, in my case, I really prefer to have it just projected behind my shoulders. Then everyone can really see what happens and they can see what I'm doing with the clock. But basically, yes, the clock will be visible to everyone in the group. And this is the chairperson's responsibility to operate the clock and make sure that everyone sees it. Okay, I have a question from Apostolos. I have a question from Apostolos. How are jurors informed about juror schedule? So Apostolos, first, all jurors need to check in before each fight. So even if you plan to be available in each fight, you need to check in before each fight. Some jurors have complex personal plans and they change time to time. Sometimes jurors want to come, but they do not come, and sometimes the opposite thing happens. What we do is that we perform check-in for all available jurors who want to be on the fight. You do it in the text channel jury check-in. Then 10 minutes before the fight, Georgy Lesniewski, our scoring commission chairperson, will run his magic code for the jury distribution. Only then, 10 minutes before the fight, we will have the best possible jury schedule using with the names of jurors that are available for this fight. Kahiz is asking, sorry, I had connection problems. How exactly should the jury present the grades in a personal message in the chairman channel or in a PDF format. No, it's not a PDF. It's just a personal message. Just type reporter 10, opponent 10, reviewer 10. Obviously, this will be not so good report, an excellent review, and intermediate in quality opposition. Just type the message to the chair. Once again, for individual protocol, I'm addressing to all jurors. It's available on the webpage as a PDF file. You can use it, you can print it, if you prefer. If you want to submit it, yes, you can do it, but this is not mandatory. This is not mandatory. We're not requesting that each juror prints and scans a protocol on paper and signs it. This is not mandatory here in this IYNT. Jurors, yes, we have the explanation from Georgi. Thank you very much. Okay. Dina says I cannot hear you. Then Dina, apparently you need to test your connection settings, but I hope this message is old and I hope your connection settings are okay now. Other questions, please. Yes, okay. I have a message from Georgi Lesniewski from the Scoring Commission. All jurors to be available for the fight must check in. Otherwise, we will not know that you will be on the jury. So Apostolos, for example, have not checked in yet. So if you want to be on the jury now in this Science Fight 1, please check in. And the same concerns the jury member Kuliaeva. I'm not sure about your first name, but please check in if you want to be on the jury. One thing about the conflict of interests, by default, according to the regulations, no juror can judge their own team. This is applied to all jurors, no exception, obviously. This is a provision of the regulations. Additionally, in some cases, the jurors prefer to have some extra conflicts of interest, and in that case, you need to report them. If you have such conflicts of interest with any of the teams we have here, please report them to Georgi Lesniewski in the jury check-in channel. Just type, I am a juror, this is my name. Please do not put me in the group with such and such team. Okay, other questions, please?
I have a question.
Yes?
Should the chairpersons have the total science fight protocol sheet out, and should that be signed and scanned?
Can you please say your question again? The voice quality was not good.
So there is a science fight protocol sheet for the chairpersons. Should that be properly signed and sent as PDF, or can that also be just done with direct message?
No, it cannot be direct message because it must look like a structured spreadsheet, obviously. In case you can print it, in case you can sign it with your signature, please do it. You can go to the text channel for chairs, and you will see one example of how I scanned the protocol for the team introduction. You can do the same thing. In case it is difficult for you, in case you do not have access to the printer, you can just fill the file digitally on your computer, and then you can provide a PDF. Once again, we need a document which is clearly a document originating from the chair, an official document, not just a sequence of numbers where some of them can be wrong. And once again, all chairs, please be absolutely sure to check that all names are recorded and all problems are recorded, all rejected problems are recorded as well. If nothing has been rejected, then you put just a dash. And please make sure that nothing is missing and that all is clear and consistent. You are the final source of evidence, okay, almost final source of evidence of what happened in your fight group. In case your protocol is wrong, or incomplete, then we have an issue. So please check it extremely attentively. If you ask the assistance of a designated assistant or of one of the jurors, you ask their assistance, once again, it is your responsibility to check, make sure that everything is correct. The questions, please. Other questions, please. In case you prefer to type your questions, you can also type them. Okay, apparently there are no other questions. We have 15 minutes before the fight, and I hope that everyone will be on time. In 7 minutes, the check-in closes. Once again, all jurors, please check in if you want to be on this fight. In case our chairs have any extra questions, we can discuss directly with chairs, but the majority of them are very experienced in online tournaments like this one. I hope everything will be smooth. So in case there are no further questions, then I wish everyone best of luck in the first fight. And I very much hope that this first fight will be smooth and successful. Okay, thank you very much. And let's wait for the distribution of jurors who goes to what group. We'll know it in approximately 8 to 10 minutes from now. I remind everyone that check-in for jurors, for each juror, closes in 6 minutes from now. Thank you.